Tell me. I started recording. Anyone, any query, questions? Let me share my screen also. Hope, hopefully my screen is visible to everyone. Is it?
Yes, yes, Deepak, sorry.
Perfect. Okay. So what I'm going to do today is, yeah. So to start with Python, right? Maybe like we had discussed, right, about Python, right, last lecture, maybe not, but yes. So Python is one of the very right popular, you can say scripting or whatever you call, right, a programming language. So first I will start with, so can anyone differentiate between a scriptive language and a programming language? Generally, how we right differentiate them. So just example, if I say, uh, if I take an example of C language or Go language or Java language and compare with right Shell or Python, so how you will right differentiate them? So now let me come very straightforward. So what you do when you write a program in Java or C? For example, I written a code. Then what I need to do?
It needs
Uh,
compilation.
yes,
Compilation.
it needs compilation.
We need why we do compilation? What is the reason behind doing compilation? Why not?
So that machine can understand our code and it can generate the desired output which we can also understand.
Correct. So it generates bytecode, and right, bytecode has a capability, right, to interact with what your machine, right? So generally, machine doesn't understand human readable, right, code. So someone or some way, right, we need to convert our code into right bytecode, whether in a runtime or right after compiling, creating a bytecode, and then right, giving it to machine, right, so that it can interact with hardware. In general, if you see any program you're running would have to make right some interaction with your hardware. Okay. Now, if you take an example of scripting language, in scripting language, right, we all also write a raw code, but it get right actually converted into right machine understandable language. Who does it? So, what is there in scripting language, right, which does that?
Interpreter.
Yeah, so we use what? An interpreter. If you see in any scripting language, the very first line, right, we give, right, the information about what interpreter I'm going to use, right? And if you see, right, we generally call them either user directive or shebang line, right? That starts with hash exclamation and then the path where the interpreter you have installed. For example, if you're using shell or any kind of shell, for example, I am using bash shell, so I will write bin bash. If I am using the legacy shell, then I will use bin sh. Okay, bin slash sh. If I am using Python, I will say either user bin Python or somewhere I have installed Python in user local bin Python, right? And similarly for any other scripting language like Ruby, Perl, right, name it, there are many, PHP, right? Those are what scripting language where right an interpreter at runtime, right, sequentially line by line, right, converts what you have written, right, into bytecode, and that bytecode, right, actually talks to the machine, right, and in that way you right get some output or what you are expecting, right, from your machine. So this is what right the difference is. But remember, the things right are improving so well that some of right you can say interpreter language are acting like right what programming language, right? Generally, right, if you take an example of right front end technologies like TypeScript, right? So what happens there, right? Or you can say basically programming languages are right acting like interpreter language. So the compilation is so fast, right? It's so fast, and right, it has created in such a way that even a programming language in which we need to right do the compilation first and then right run our program has been reduced right very fastly in terms of the performance, because the compilation happens in milliseconds, or you can say microseconds. So then there is a gray difference, then we identify, right? Yes. So this is what happening, right? The improvement in the technology, right? Reducing your compilation time and all, right, is making, right, a thin line of difference between scripting and programming language also. So yes, if we know difference between a scripting and programming language, so we are using Python, which is what, a scripting language. Okay. Now I I also want to discuss why Python is so popular. What is the reason behind Python being so hit in the market? Anyone?
Easy.
It is compatible with any platform.
Okay, so
It's actually a readable kind of thing. It's not more programming. Uh,
l- Less
correct.
number of codes, less
yeah,
number
yeah,
of
less
lines.
number of codes and easily readable.
Yeah. So I agree with, right, most of you what you have said, right, like cross-platform, right, scripting language. So if I want to run in Windows, I can run on Windows also. If I want to run on Mac, I can run on, right, Mac. Unlike, right, Bash scripting, which only, right, generally runs on only, right, Unix environment. Okay, this is right, one thing. Yes, it is easy to, right, learn and easy to read, or right, easy to write language also, and that's what, right, the reason behind, right, preferring it. So something, right, which makes you learn something, right, easily, right, makes your interest a lot. If it's something difficult, right, you lose interest very easily. So one of the reason, right, of being popular is this also. But what is the reason that we have to write a less number of code? Anyone? What could be the reason that you don't have to write much code? Take a typical example. If I compare, if I want to write a program, say palindrome program, right, in Shell or in C, right, and in Python, there is a huge difference in terms of, right, writing the code in number of lines. So there are various reasons behind it. Can anyone tell me, right, what could be the main reason? So answer is, right, the richness in the library, right? So Python has rich set of what? Library.
It's
What do you mean
libraries.
by library?
Packages containing
Correct.
Modules.
So libraries can be synonym of packages, right? So never, generally we use packages, module and functions, right? It's very similar, but they are different, right? Package is different thing, module is different thing, and function is a different, right, thing. So yes, library contains what? Modules, and modules inside contain functions. So obviously library will contain certain code, right, which has not, right, there maybe with Python, or uh, coming in, right, while installing Python, it is also installing certain packages or certain code for you, right, for which you don't have to write even a code. For example, if I'm writing a code and I want to connect to MySQL database, right, to attach to a particular MySQL server and run a query, just giving an example. So in that case, generally, if I go to other language, first I have to write a connector, right, and then, right, using that connector, I have to, right, write my program. But here, the very easy thing is, right, there is already a library, right, in which if you import that library, right, it will give you all the connector code and everything. Only thing you have to just write, right, using whatever the function in that particular package, right, call that function with, right, the parameters, and you will get connected to the database, and then you can, right, run queries also. For that also they have created all the respected function, right, to do that. So many other things. For example, if I want to do some automation in AWS, right? So I don't need to write, write my own code to have a connection with a service, or use the Expo service APIs, read them, right, and start writing code or creating my own, right, libraries or module to do certain activity with AWS service. Already there is a library created for, right, AWS services called Boto, and using that Boto I can write do automation of, right, AWS services. So it is kind of a software development kit for Python, and I don't need to code much. Else, I just want to use the functions that has been created for the services. So these are the major advantages, right, of Python. Uh, Second, the most important thing, right, the learning curve. right? So if you want to learn programming language using other languages like C or Java, the learning curve would be higher when compared to Python, and therefore people, right, are moving toward Python. Now we have talked, right, very good thing about Python. We should also right, look into the limitations. Can anyone highlight me any one limitation? There are no much, but yes, there are a few limitations.
Speed.
That can be optimized, right? And Python 3, right, has been why we move from Python to the Python 3, right? Because of this all, right, memory and other optimization, right, has been done.
Dependability, yes, on third-party libraries.
Yeah, this is one thing. Many other codes also have the same stuff, right? In terms of dependency. The I would say it is not a production grade, right? Language, in a way I will call it. So, for example, for prototyping, right, for automation, right, for aspects like data science, IoT, right, yes, it is good to use that language. But if you are writing an engine, right, which needs, right, performance, just what you say, right, but not in the speed. So in terms of performance handling, right, uh, m- multiple number of requests and all those, right, where Python is bit not that, right, cool, I would say. So if you see, you will prototype a product in Python, but later on you will move to, right, some production grade technologies like Go, Java, or C. Right? Most of the engines would you see will you see, right, would be written in this languages finally. So there are things, but yes, if I am writing some automation, right, for some, or I want to create some, right, utility, automated utility, you will see the first choice would be Python rather than any, right, high level languages. Uh, Second thing, what I have seen and what I observed while, right, doing certain, right, practical activities. So I had to automate one of automation using, right, PKI connection, right. PKI, right, there is a card, right, which through which, right, we generally get authenticated and, right, log into certain services in our organization, right, through browser. So I had to automate that, right, that if you connect your PKI card, which is a driver, right, loaded in your machine, when you open something in browser, right, that interfaces uses the PKI driver, and then you will redirect it to, right, authentication using PKI, and then you log in into certain thing. So I want to make it command line, right, utility, rather than people using it from browser. So it should can be used from a command line, right, interface. So I wrote the very first, you can say, the command line interface using Python, and I was using the library Selenium because obviously I have to launch, right, in a browser, and I want to hide that. Since it should not pop up, so I use, right, whatever there in Selenium to, right, Python Selenium to do that. And then the same, I got a thought, right, why not I should do, right, using Go, and I wrote same thing, right, using Go. And clearly, right, the launcher, the API, the Selenium launcher, right, which I was using, I don't have to use that there itself, right. There is a in Go there is itself, right, something, right, of launching their own internal, right, things. And what happened, it reduces the lot of latency, right, in the Python script in terms of using Selenium library compared to Go. So there you can see, right, there are certain variants, right, in terms of what library you have, and what performance bottlenecks are there. So there could be, right, this kind of right, imbalances. But again, I would say, if I do not have a knowledge of Go, right, I would not have, right, written in Go, right. Then Python would be the good thing, right, and whatever I have, right, I would be happy with that. तो यही है, ये चीजें आपको बस ध्यान रखनी पड़ेगी। तो जरूरी नहीं है कि हर चीज पाइथन में बहुत अच्छा हो जाए, लेकिन yes, Python is first choice, right, when anything comes in mind to automate, and that's what happened with me also. Okay, let's move now from this all discussions, right? But these discussions are very important. Now, first of all, I will not talk in terms when I'm teaching this, right, initial programming language. I will not talk, right, in terms of Python. First of all, whenever you start learning any language, the thought should be what? Thought should be in terms of what are variables out there, right? What are different type of variables, operators? These are the stuff, right, that you should, right, first engage with, and slowly you have to enrich your vocabulary of the functions, right? In case of Python, literally, the more the functional function knowledge you have, more, right, capability in terms of, right, automating things will come in you. So first, for any programming language, the easy way out to, right, understand the variable types, right, play around those variables, right, and then slowly play around the methods, right, used for those variables. So we will use that approach, but I know we are very beginners, so we should also start with, right, directly jumping into function. First understand variables, operators, some basic operators with those variables, and then we will do some printing exercise. We will write a code using some, right, print statement, and then we'll move to, right, methods used, right, for the data types or objects that Python have, right? So that we can see how, right, the cool that Python language is. Okay, this is one thing. Now, how to set up Python in your system? Anyone had done any Python setup?
Yes,
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Jupyter
Anaconda.
Notebook.
So,
Yes,
Yes.
Jupyter
uh,
Notebook.
yeah, if you have done Jupyter Notebook or whatever, right? So that's your choice. I will not limit it to you, right? Anyone can use
I
command
have done PyCharm also.
PyCharm.
PyCharm
Okay,
is easy
PyCharm
comparatively.
is also easy, right? Even Jupyter Notebook installation using Anaconda is
Sublime,
easy. Sublime
Sublime
is
text
there.
editor.
Sublime text editor you can use.
I
I
have
can
ideally.
idle that is come from, right,
IntelliJ.
Python Windows installer, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So all this you can use, right, upon your basis. If you are not aware how to install Python in your Windows machine, I told you you have to go to python.org. Okay, in python.org, in downloads, right, you can go for Windows or any other platform, right? You will get this download, right, version. So you can download installer, and using that also you can install your Python packages, and this will give you an idea. If you want to install a notebook, right, so you should specifically, right, do a Anaconda Python installation. Okay, just waiting. So you can search for any blog or anything, right? Anaconda Python, right? Install Windows 10 or whatever in the system. So if you install this Anaconda Python, by default you will get, right, all different kind of, right, editor like Jupyter Notebook and everything. So rather than, right, using their site, I prefer, right, going to, right, some blog site for installation. So if you finish it, right, and you will open the Anaconda in your Windows, you will get a choice, right, whether you want to use Jupyter Notebook, and you can launch it. So Jupyter Notebook can be, right, also, right, dedicatedly installed in, right, Linux server also. So you can go through some blogs like Jupyter, right, Notebook on Ubuntu or any Linux system. So for example, on Ubuntu, so you will get, right, a lot of how to set up Jupyter Notebook with Python 3 on Ubuntu, right? You can go with this article, right, and you can set up this thing, right? So these are various ways, right, through which you can, right, install this utility, right, for programming. And once you can, using Putty, you can also, right, connect to it, and you will see, right, this kind of stuff which will come, in which you can, right, create folder and, right, write your programs over that for learning purposes. So it's matter of choice. I know initially I would say I will suggest you do what I am doing, but slowly, right, once you acquire some knowledge, you can move to PyCharm, whatever IDE that you are interested in, right? Then go to that. If you are
Deepak,
quite comfortable now, you can do that. Yes, Vishal.
what we use here
Where?
in our practice.
I will be first showing you, right, interactive Python shell. So I will be using a Python installed in my Ubuntu system. So how to install Python in an Ubuntu system? It is simple command sudo apt-get install Python 3, right? If it is not installed in your Ubuntu system, if it is a Red Hat instance, sudo yum install Python 3, right? So it will install Python in your system, and we will be just typing Python, and we'll get an interactive shell, right? Over that we will be doing it, and we will be writing our vi editor the program and executing them for learning purpose. But the same thing you can write execute over idle, over PyCharm, over this Jupyter notebook.
because
Okay.
we don't know Windows platform totally. We are not aware of that.
So in Windows platform is nothing, right? Same like while you do installation, right? If you do installation of using this Python org, okay, Vishal.
So
So what will happen? It will set a path for you, environment variable path for you, right? There's an option while
yeah,
installing, right? Set the environment variable path, right? So maybe right, it will go in C Python, whatever the version you have, right? Inside there would be the Python interpreter or executable in case of Windows, you can say. So that would be get set. So now if it is set, right, environment variable is set, even you can run your right Python interactive shell in the command line also. The CMD also will work, right? If you type Python out there, it will work. But if you after installation, if you in your search box, if you type idle, right, idle, so it will open you right learning window, right? A pop-up window will come up where you can write your program and run them also. Okay.
okay.
So this is something you can right initially explore. If still you face challenge, right, please do come in the next lecture, show your machine, share machine, I will help you out. Okay.
Okay.
But this all setups, right, you can try yourself. I will attach some links right in today's video, so that right, using those links, right, those blogs, you can do whatever setup you want to, right? It's fine.
Yeah.
And slowly I will definitely suggest to start using notebooks right in future for yourself, because managing your code and right having notebooks right is something right, is a reference document for you, right? Anytime right, whatever notebooks you have created while learning, you can refer them right easily, so they are like a document right for you. Okay, those who knows using Jupyter notebook are must be aware of that. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay, now I will start right using, say for example, in this is my Ubuntu machine. I will first clear it, and some basic checks I will tell you. First of all, if I do not have Python installed, say in my this Ubuntu, generally Python is default package with Ubuntu systems. But in AWS, you can say images, we do not have right by default Python installed. Right, in some of the images like Ubuntu or Amazon AMI, right, or Red Hat. In that case, what I need to do, I need to do sudo. For example, I'm in Ubuntu apt, right? Install Python. Okay. So Python by default installs what? Python 2 you have to write. So it will install Python 2.x version. But it has been deprecated last year, right? 2020 it has been deprecated, and the reason of deprecation. So they want to improve right Python. So they come up with a parallel development Python 3 when Python 2 was in use. They were developing right Python 3. Making right, you can say some computation and performance related changes right to make Python more easy to use. Now you can use this command to install Python 2, or if you want to install Python 3, you can run this command, right? Python 3. For example, if I run, okay, see it is saying that right we have some Python version, right? There's a new Python version came, right? 3.8.2, right? If you want to install, right, you can install. Uh, I already have this, right, and therefore it is say right it is not required. My Python right version is already right in an updated state, right? So if you run this command, it will install Python, right? For generally in Red Hat system, you have to use which command? Sudo yum install Python version specific, like Python 3.8.38, right? Python 3.6 if Python 3.6, right? In that way, you have to install right in your Red Hat instances. Right? It will also install Python for you. Now, when you run this command, generally this Python interpreter goes where? It goes into this directory where I am right now, user bin. Let me minimize it so everyone can see it. So generally, right, this interpreter executable path is user bin. In Windows, right, it is you to select which path you want to put your Python exe while doing the installation, right? It will give you a choice to set path. Or if you have not set path, you have to identify where it is installed, and then you have to go to environment variable, option, and set your path there of your Python executable. So this is where user bin, it goes. Now if you see in my system, if I do ls minus ltr, Python star, you can see I have two versions of Python here, right? I have installed Python 3.6 also, and I have Python 3.8 also. And if you see, my soft link is pointing to Python 3.8. So if my soft link that I created Python, is pointing. So if I use this Python minus capital V to check, so it will show me 3.8 version. Okay, but if I remove this soft link sudo rm Python and say that is the reason why I removed. I want to use Python 3.6 as my default Python in my system. So obviously I will do what? I will remove the soft link, generally the Python soft link, and change it to Python 3.6. So I will create soft link again with the same name, sudo ln minus s Python 3.6, right, to what? Python. Now if I do Python minus v, it is pointing now 3.6.9. So generally if you have multiple version of Python and you want to switch around, to certain reasons, either you can use this, or there is an also option of virtual environment, in which also you can do, go to that virtual environment and use a dedicated version of Python. So there are many ways. This is one way I switched to a different version of Python. Now I want to come back to 3.8. So I will remove this again. What I will do, I will switch my soft link to 3.8 after removing. Now I am in Python 3.8.5. Okay. So this is one thing where you go. Any question here, guys?
Deepak,
Yeah.
can you please execute one command there? Echo
Echo.
space dollar path, capital path.
Okay, perfect. So it contains all the path, user bin, and all that, where your executable is.
Yeah,
To the output.
yeah, user bin, yes.
So that is the reason, why this Python is identified, because Python I'm using like a command, which is a soft link, and since it is in a path user bin, it is able to identify. So my general caution, a Unix caution to everyone, right? I have written a program, a small shell script, in say some path called my home directory, my scripts, and I want my program, which I have written, should be executed from any path, right? From any path, right? Rather than going to my home directory, my scripts folder, and then executing my code, I want to run from any path. So what should I do? Make my script look like a command.
Actually, we need to mention in path variable.
So you have to add,
Add,
that
yes.
path
Add into
into.
alias
Mhm. Now
in
alias is
Bash.
different thing. Alias is different thing. So alias is shortcut, right? To
Not bashers.
shortcut to what you are executing on a regular basis. So do what? You create a shortcut. But making a script act like a command, you need to add that path into this path variable. So let me give you a small demo, maybe sometime it comes in interview. So and since Vishal asked me this path, that come to my interest and I want to pass this. Okay, so I will go to my home directory. Okay, and I create mkdir my scripts. Okay. In this I am writing a small shell script. Okay. Okay. I'm using command substitution to store right output of a command, though I can execute directly. Okay, so I just wrote a very right basic program. I saved it. Okay, now I'm giving it executable permission. Okay, now if I execute, I'm in this path, right? And if I execute my this script, right, dot slash my first dot sh, right, I'm getting the output, right? So it is printing me few things. One, right, this statement, this is script, okay, and then the df minus h output, okay, which I stored in a variable and displayed in through that variable. Okay, this I did. Now if I go back, right, and run this particular, right, my first dot sh, will it work?
No.
It will not work, right?
That is not
Even,
on that path, no?
yeah, that is not in that path. Even if I run like a command like this, it will not run, right? My
You can
first,
mention shell, and after that you we can mention full path there.
so I don't want to that. I want to execute like this command. I just want to execute like this, and it should give me output from any path.
So
So
we
what I
need to add
should
that.
do, you have to do what? Export, right? And this statement should be written somewhere which the file which, right, get executed every time, right, you open a terminal, and that file is what? In your home directory dot
Sure.
.sh. So there you generally put it. So I'm just writing out this in this terminal. So I'm doing export, and right, I am editing my path variable, right, with, right, my home directory, that is this, right, slash, I have given the folder name my scripts. Okay, it is my scripts, yeah, and then colon whatever there was in the path variable, right? So in path I'm including whatever earlier there in the $path variable, and right, I'm adding something new, right, which is tilde, that is my home directory slash my script. Okay, so I did that, and if I do echo $path, I can see, right, it has been included, right, this. And see, I am currently not in my script folder, right? I'm not. I am in a home base, and if I do first, so it is my first, right? Okay, not first. My first dot sh. See, if I am going to execute it now, it is getting executed. Though I am in, right, some different path. I don't need to specify, right, an absolute or relative path, right, to run my script. Rather than I'm using my script as a command. So this is where, right, path variable are useful. And therefore, if I'm using Python command, right, since it is in user bin, right, it was able to, right, understand, okay, I have to use a Python which is there in user bin, and that Python is actually pointing to an interpreter, and if I use -v option with that interpreter, it gives me a version. Is this clear to everyone?
Yes, Deepak,
Uh,
just one question is remaining in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
That is, now we set one additional path in path variable, right? But is
Mm-hmm.
it permanent?
It is not permanent, right? We talked about it, Vishal.
Okay.
What we talked about? If you want, right, it to be permanent, where we need to, right, put this? Some file which got sourced every time you either restart your server or, right, log into the terminal, and that file could be bash profile, bash rc, or dot profile files. Okay.
Yes, yes.
I just, sir, just one question.
Yes, Raj.
So export will work in bracket, or is there any different variable?
Export is something we call it, right, to bless a particular variable, right, as a environment variable or a user created environment variable, right? So in your system, right, I understand what you want to ask. So whether I want to use the syntax, right, export kahan pe dalna, right, ऐसा ये पूछ रहे हो?
No. But in Reddit system, Reddit operating system, this is Ubuntu.
Mm-hmm.
So in Reddit, export will work, or is there any different variable?
So in if you are talking about Windows, there is set command, set.
Okay.
Just syntax.
Okay. Yes. This is what I'm asking.
Yeah. Okay. So overall concept is clear, right? If someone ask you, right, you will be able to answer it. Okay. Okay, now let's jump into Python, right? Come back to Python. Now there are two ways to start as a beginner in Python, right? So obviously we should start as a beginner as from the interactive Python shell, right, rather than directly going and writing program. Okay, so I'm using my interactive shell. If I type Python and enter, right, it takes me to the interactive shell. If you see three, right, greater than sign, right? So this is your interactive area. Right now you can interact with Python interpreter directly, right, which will interpret and give you output. Now first I will talk about types of data and how to identify their types, and how what are the different operators that we can use with them, right, so that we have some operator knowledge, right, playing around this variable. But jumping directly on operator would not be good. So I will do what? I will write some variable and we will discuss about variable first. So if I write x equal to 10, so can anyone interpret me this statement x equal to 10?
The value of x will be a 10.
Okay, so x is what? X is a variable, right?
Variable, integer.
And variable which is storing some value that you are assigning using assignment operator to some address, right, which that variable has, right? X will get some address. In that address, basically, it will store the value called what? 10. Correct? And now, how you will treat what type of variable this is?
Integer.
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 That's true. Now, I want go more in a broader thought. So, being a integer type of variable, right? What kind of variable it is? Now, let me give you a hint. Is it a vector or a scalar variable? वेक्टर है कि स्केलर है?
Vector होगा. It is pointing to something.
Vector.
See, now here we have to understand the difference between vector and scalar. A variable, right, which only have a magnitude. Magnitude means some value, right, is generally what? A scalar, because that magnitude can be changed anytime. Currently it is 10, and I can change this to 20, but it only contains magnitude.
Yes.
Now, when I say vector, with direction, if magnitude change, right? If you're moving to a direction, right, and its magnitude change, then we call it what? A vector variable. So obviously, when you are driving your car, right, your speed of car basically changes with your movement, right? At certain kilometer would be this rate speed and certain this. So if you are seeing that, right, with your change in movement, the value of speed is changing, right, then that's the nature of what vector. With magnitude, vector changes. Now in terms of program, right, if you create a variable which is an array, what happens? As per your index value change, right, the magnitude change, right? At 0 index there would be some value, right? At what index there would be some value. So such variable would be what called vector variables. So obviously x is more scalar, right, in nature, this x variable, because it contains only one magnitude, which is an integer value, right? Now I have
Yes.
written x now 10, and if I print this, right, though I don't need to write print statement in interpreter, even if I type x also it will print me. But still, in Python we use print statement with round brackets to print some value, right? It's printing me this. If I do x equal to ethans, and if I print x, this time it is printing me ethans, right? So obviously what I'm changing the magnitude, I'm changing the value, right? And therefore it is a variable since it is changing, right? But the nature is what? I'm storing one single kind of a magnitude, and sometime it contains this, sometime it contains it's this. So nature is what? Scalar nature. Okay, so this is one thing. And yes, if I now see what type of object that x contains, earlier it was integer, now it is what?
String.
String.
Yeah, so there is a function, right, through which you can simply check using type function, right? If you type x, it will show you what object it is, right? It is a string object. If I write x equal to 10.00, okay? And again I do type X, it is saying me what? Float, right? And if I am just keeping 10 and if I'm saying type what? Integer. So obviously it is storing, right, different right, variable and types, right? Python is smart enough to, right, interpret and, right, see that. Now using this type, what I can do, right, I can add some, right, operator knowledge over it, right, over this scalar variable, right, which I have currently. And then we will go to the right, other variable types also. Now if I have X equal to 10, okay, and Y equal to hello, okay, and if I do, right, X plus Y, what will happen? What is plus?
E-
Operator.
Error,
Concatenation.
Is it?
error will throw.
We will get what? An error.
Error.
So error is,
Typecast.
it is a type error, right? Typecast error. Why? We cannot add a integer with a string, correct?
Yes, yes.
So we get type error, unsupported. But we can, right, do something, right, to handle this situation where I want to avoid type error. So I can
Typecasting.
convert, I can typecast X, which is an integer, into what? String, right? There is a function called string, right, to typecast. So obviously it will convert, right, a number which is an integer in string context, right? So obviously a 10 will become what? A string after using this function. And now plus means what? Concatenation. So concatenation is joining, right, two variables together, right? So string, if both the variables are string and you are using plus, it is what? Concatenation. Now if I have Y equal to 20, and if I do X plus Y, then what will be the output?
Error because X value is now string.
No. See, that is runtime, right? X is still integer until unless I use string function.
Okay.
Okay, so it will
Now it will be fine.
fine, right? It will give me 30.
Yeah,
30 is an
30.
output. So
Yes.
this is what. So with integer, I can do what? Normal addition operator, right? It is used, right? I can use mathematics very easily here, right? There is no right, syntax involved, right, in terms of doing mathematics in Python, right? It is a free flow, right, mathematics which can happen, right, in Python, that you have to understand. We have some program to write over it, right, with a very, right, lot of print statement which will be coming up today. So this is one thing. Now if I write uh, y equal to this, okay, and if I write y into 30, what will happen?
First one, it is storing that marking by, and second one, it is mathematical operator.
Yes, that's true. So what would be the output of this?
It will, if will print this statement, print y into 30, then it would print that star asterisk 30 means 30 times.
30 times. So whenever
Yes.
you use a multiplication operator, right, with string, it is a repetition, but it repeats it. So I have right, stored a string called asterisk, right, and I am using multiply operator with 30. So it will repeat asterisk 30 times. Okay. So this is, right, how, right, multiplication operator acts with what? Strings, right? And normal, right, if I write x into 30, obviously it is a normal mathematical multiplication, right, which is what? 10 into 30, that is 300, right? Clear?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Okay. Now let's do another thing, right? For example, I have x contains a, okay, and y contains capital A, okay. Now if I use x, is y. Is it what is what an operator, right? Is what an operator which I can use, right, with strings. So if I write x is y means what? मैं बोल रहा हूँ x y है ना?
नहीं बुलियन गलत है.
So ये गलत है कि सही है?
Yes, it is false.
So it will return a boolean false, right? This
Yes.
operator, right? So obviously this is kind of operator through which we can do, right? Why there is a difference when I use is? What is the reason behind, right? It is saying it false.
This is
It
a boolean operator. So
yes, and it is comparing the both the values.
So x contains a, right? And x is interpreting to a and capital A. So there is an ordinality difference, right? Something called ordinal value
Oh,
of
yes.
a is different than, right, capital A. So there is a function called ord, right? And if you see this, my bad. Why I got name error? Can anyone tell me? Make me understand what is the reason behind getting a name error when I wrote the above statement. This one.
You cannot give variable name inside that ORD as a ORD argument.
A
I
is
can give
No,
variable.
no. Actually, A is assigned to X, so
A is a string now. X is a variable.
yeah. X is a variable.
Let me tell you the correct reason, right? A is what? Ordinality is thinking that you are passing it a variable, right? And that variable is not defined. A is defined anywhere.
No,
If A is not defined anywhere, right? Obviously it says, right? I think like you are passing me a name which does not exist, right? And it is treating A as a variable, right? And that A is not defined. Therefore, it is giving what? Name error. Now, if I have defined, say, A equal to ABC or whatever, right? Say A equal to X, right? And if I check ordinality of A, it will work. Reason what? Earlier A was not defined, right? Whenever object is not defined and you are trying to access that object, it will give you name error. You got my point?
yes.
Everyone? ये वेरिएबल डिफाइन ही नहीं किया ए और मैं उस वेरिएबल को एक्सेस करना चाह रहा हूँ. पाइथन हमेशा ऑब्जेक्ट जो आप यूज कर रहे हो किसी फंक्शन में या इंटरपोलेट करने के लिए उसका वैल्यू निकालने के लिए डिफाइन नहीं है तो नेम एरर ही देगा. ठीक है. फॉर एग्जांपल मैंने नेम वेरिएबल बनाया ही नहीं, ठीक है, और मैं नेम वेरिएबल को एक्सेस कर रहा हूँ. ये मेरे लिए एक वेरिएबल है नेम, ठीक है. अभी पाइथन इंटरप्रेटर के लिए मैं इसको रन करूंगा, बोलेगा नेम एरर, नेम इज नॉट डिफाइंड. वही अगर मैं नेम इक्वल टू अश्वनी कर दूं, ठीक है, अभी मैं नेम करूं तो ऑब्वियसली उसको ऑब्जेक्ट मिलेगा, वो प्रिंट करेगा, नेम एरर नहीं देगा. गॉट माय पॉइंट
Correct.
नाउ?
Yes. Yes.
नाउ
Yes.
आई विल कम बैक टू ऑर्डिनलिटी, राइट. अभी मेरे को किसका ऑर्डिनलिटी चेक करना है? एक्स का और वाई का, है ना. तो अगर मैं ऑर्डिनलिटी ऑफ एक्स चेक करता हूँ और ऑर्डिनलिटी ऑफ वाई चेक करता हूँ तो ये क्या कौन से वैल्यूज हैं, कोई बताएगा? 9765.
आपकी वैल्यू
ये आस्की वैल्यू है किसका? एक्स में जो कंटेंट है ए का, ठीक है.
Yes.
अभी अगर मैं ये देखता हूँ, ठीक है, बेसिकली जैसे मैंने ऑर्डिनलिटी एक्स किया है ना, अभी मैं यहाँ पे डायरेक्टली वो स्ट्रिंग ही पास कर देता हूँ ए, ठीक है. इसका कितना आ रहा है स्मॉल ए का? 97,
Same है.
राइट. और
Same ही
कैपिटल,
आएगा.
हाँ, कैपिटल वाई का, सॉरी कैपिटल ए का,
65.
65.
राइट. दिस द रीजन, राइट. So therefore they are not same. Or now there is something called id also. Id operate like ordinality. So id of x and id of y, what is this?
Address.
Location where it's stored.
Yes, identity,
Yes.
right, or
Index
address,
address.
right, correct, right. So obviously that is also if I check on the address different, right, if I say id x is id y, obviously they would be different, right, they would not be same because they are two different variables with different address. Again I will get what? A false. Okay. So similarly is, and there is something called not is not, sorry. अभी वही चीज मैं अगर करूं y x is not y, normal English, right? X is not y, so x is a variable, which is not y.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm getting what? True boolean. And this all booleans can be used in conditional, right, or decision logic, right? Using if statements we can use, right, this boolean, right, in certain cases. This part is clear, guys, till now? Now we have come into some, right, operator stuff, right, and
Yes.
after understanding variable. Now I'm writing this. So it should be in double quotes. So okay, what would be the output of this? So I'm talking about an operator called in. So if you run the statement, you should try to interpret yourself. पहले तो अपने आप सोचो मैं क्यों लिख रहा हूँ ये पाइथन का स्टेटमेंट है, right? So cat in a variable which is string again, or you can say object which is a string again in double quotes. It's raining like cats and dogs.
It's like setting that in the statement.
Will
It is
find sequence. Yes,
it
it
it,
will.
it see, right, this sequence of characters is present, right, in this, right, string.
Yes.
If it is there, it will return a boolean true, right? Correct? Now if I do this, okay, and I write अभी क्या आउटपुट आएगा, ये स्टेटमेंट ट्रू और फॉल्स?
True.
ट्रू आएगा, राइट? तो मैंने
Yes.
वैर जो
True
पहले
आएगा,
मैं
हाँ.
ऐसे पास करा था, मैंने वेरिएबल करके भी पास कर दिया, राइट? और ये देख रो के ई सी, राइट, is there, that the sequence is there, right? So it will give me what? True. Okay, and if I do this,
What is case? क्या?
case is a sequence of characters. I'm checking if this sequence is present there or not. Okay.
Okay.
And if I use this not in, so not in evaluates what? Vice versa. Okay. If, right, I'm checking that it should not be there in where, right? I'm just checking like this, right? But it is there, so it will return me what? False.
False.
Got it, guys?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. Now let's come to other type of variable. Just for understanding, we will go in depth of the string, right, in their methods later, but just need to understand, grasp something, right, and then we will go and do lot of some printing exercise, and then we will write a program in printing, and then we will go to write method functions, right, later. So these are certain, I am just giving you glimpse of certain operator which can be used, right, with strings, right, right, or you can say a string type, or object of data type, integer or float, right? You can do certain kind of, right, mathematical operator, this kind of operator. So if having this knowledge, it makes, right, some of the activities, right, in day-to-day activity programming, they will come in, right, use, and there are many more to come. Okay, now I'm writing some variable called L, and writing something called 1 comma 4 comma 5 comma 6. Okay, so what type of variable it is?
List.
It is list, right? Obviously this is also, if I categorize broadly, it is kind of a vector variable, right? Why?
Magnitude
So
and direction. Yes.
yes, so direction is what? Your indexes, right? So if you move your
Yes.
indexes from 0 1, the value changes, right? Okay, now it is type list. Okay, and if I do this L 0, so what I am doing?
Printing the zeroth value.
Zeroth index.
Zeroth
Grabbing the
index
index
first
value,
element.
and I will get what output? 1,
One.
right?
One.
1.
Okay. Now if I do L0 equal to 20, now what I am doing?
Changing the zeroth index.
Changing the value.
It means what I am doing, what I am mutating, right?
Yeah,
Changing the
mutable.
list, and if it able to change, it means list is what? Mutable. Correct?
Yes.
Now if I print L, I can see instead of 1 it is what? 20. Right? If I access using L0, I will get now 20, not 1. Correct? So obviously list are mutable, I can change them. Now there is T, say, and I am writing this same stuff. 1, comma, 4, comma, 5, 6, round bracket. Right? So this is what I'm creating is of what type?
Tuple.
Okay, it is also right a kind of an array, but we call it tuple, right? In case of Python, a syntactical difference is what tuples generally, right, are enclosed in round brackets, right? And
Deepak, your voice is sometime getting.
for everyone,
No.
is it for
Yeah,
everyone?
yes, yes.
Okay, maybe my internet, but I don't see, right, I am getting warning my internet is so bad. But is it better now?
Yes, it is getting from my. I have slow internet today.
No, maybe others are also saying they are also facing that thing. Is it better now for everyone?
Yes.
Yeah, it's better now.
Yes,
Okay, fine. I don't know, it's because of internet maybe. Okay. uh, if you misheard or something, right, you can ask me to repeat, I will do that. Okay, so I say, right, the syntactical difference is what? If I'm using or creating an array, right, in round brackets, then I'm creating a tuple, and if it is big brackets, right, then it is a list. Now I created this tuple, and let's check using type also. First L, it is list, and when I do type T, it is what? Tuple. Correct? So obviously we know that that round bracket thing is a tuple. Now if I do this T0, what is it is going to give me?
One.
Obviously it is like an array, right? It is like list, right? Obviously zeroth index, there is
yes,
1, it will
yes.
print this. But if I again try the same thing, right, changing it to 20, it will not happen, no? Because
Yes.
tuples
It
are
Tuple
is
we
what?
cannot.
immutable.
We cannot mutate,
Immutable.
right? Immutable in nature, right? So it will give me a type. A tuple object does not support item assignment, so obviously it has not changed, it is still 1. So the reason behind, right, creating tuple, right, or you can say bags, is the reason that I want to write an array which cannot be changed, so that I can use that variable as, right, consistently, right, with same value. Sometimes we need, right, a certain requirement, but we can change, right, value of tuple in a very different way. मतलब it's not straightforward ना कि मैं directly जाके इसको change करूँगा. तो मुझे अगर इसको change करना है तो मैं typecast कर सकता हूँ. जैसे अगर मैं लिस्ट मेथड यूज करूं, लिस्ट फंक्शन, और उसमें टपल डाल दूं, तो कन्वर्ट हो जाएगा किस पे? लिस्ट पे. फिर मैं इसको
List
चेंज
में.
करके टपल पे मूव कर सकता हूं. अगर मैं टपल एल पे कर रहा हूं, देखो मैं लिस्ट को क्या बना रहा हूं? टपल बना रहा हूं. ठीक है? क्लियर
Yes,
दिस?
Deepak.
नाउ इफ आई डू id,
Yes.
right, id of l and id of t, they are two different objects, right? Now if I do l, or say m equal to l, मैं क्या कर रहा हूं अभी m equal to l करके?
Assigning list to the m variable.
m वेरिएबल, राइट? परफेक्ट. ठीक है, अभी मैं m प्रिंट करूंगा तो मुझे ये मिल रहा है. ठीक है, अभी मैं क्या ऑब्जर्व कर रहे हो आप? मैंने आईडी m किया.
Same ID as
Same ID, same address.
किसका? l का, राइट? सो ऑब्वियसली python is smart enough, right? It doesn't create different, right,
Ha.
a right address if you're copying, right, and list to another variable. So obviously if I change something on l, it will also get reflected where? In m. Okay, so you have to explore, right, module, or you can say inbuilt utility called, right, copy module of python, that is used like import copy. In copy, right, I would suggest everyone to learn what is deep copy. Okay, what is the reason behind using deep copy? Okay, note down this, right?
Yes.
Import Okay. So in this, right, there are these variables like deep copy, right? Deep copy, copy. Right? Uh, uh, Forget about all those with starting with underscore, this dunder variables, right? Forget it. It's not for you right now, right? If you go to advanced, right, you will be understand about those future aspects. But this one, right? Copy, deep copy, dispatch table or error, if you want to, right? Learn about them, right? To go and right identify about them, right? If you explore, you will learn a lot. Okay, तो ये कॉपी डीप कॉपी के बारे में आपको एक्सप्लोर करना है और उसको आइडेंटिफाई करके प्रैक्टिस करना है लिस्ट के साथ, ठीक है? Just take a note of this. Okay. Okay, so we see, right, Python is smart enough, right, in terms of managing memory also, right? If you're copying list, right, obviously it will the same address. But if you are not aware and you are saying मैंने एक अलग list बनाया है और उसमें change करूंगा तो मेरा जो main list है वो change नहीं होगा, तो ऐसा नहीं है. Then you do not have that knowledge कि ये तो same address ही है, ठीक है? So that is important to understand. Is it clear?
Yes.
Yes, they,
Yeah. Now, if I write the statement 4 in L.
yes, it will
Mhm.
throw true.
It will give
True.
a boolean true, correct? So obviously
Yes.
in and not in operator can be used, right, with list also, right, with tuple also, to check, right, if any element is present, right, in the list or not. You can use, right, in and not in operator with list also. Okay, perfect. Now there is one more object that I will talk about, and we will go in detail in, right, the session related to methods. So now if I create this, what is this? D equal to curly, two curly braces.
Dictionary.
So it is an empty
Empty
dictionary.
null
Empty dictionary.
dictionary.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. It's a dictionary and it's an empty null dictionary. Right. Now, first we have to understand what is dictionary. है क्या dictionary? होता क्या है?
Key value pair.
It would store the element in the form of key value pair.
Right. So basically, right, definition is, right, it is a ordered, right, it's an ordered collection of key value pairs, right? And
Yes.
basically it is kind of a hash use case in Python, where you can, right, store something in a key, and using that key as a hash, right, you can get the value, right, of that particular key which it is stored, right, in it. And you can easily, right, correlate with your post office. If you have seen that
Collection.
there are boxes, right, and for each places, right, there the boxes are there, and you distribute your, right, letters, right, as per the addresses they belong, right? So similar way, right, and when I say ordered, right, I am changing the statement after 3.5. I am using, right, ordered. Earlier dictionary is unordered collection of what key value pairs. Now it has become ordered, right? So obviously ordering has been done after 3.5 version. Okay, so ordering means what? The way I will insert key value pair in this dictionary, it will maintain that order, right? Earlier it was random. So if you create a dictionary of say 100 key value pairs, and every time you print D, so obviously key value pair will be intact, but it will print it in a random order. Okay. Now let me create an empty dictionary and let's put a value inside. Say I have a value as a key called K1. Okay. And in this I have stored a value called V1. Okay, so obviously this is again a variable. Now if I see my dictionary, I have an entry of key value pair. Key is what? K1, and value is V1. Now if I do this now, say Shweta. Now what is key and what is value? Everyone in above statement,
Value will be Shwetank
and one is key, right?
key.
So if I print now D, you can see, right, I have two key value pairs now. One is K1 V1, another is 1 comma colon, right, Svetan. So this is a different key value pair. Okay. Now, if I do this, okay. Now, what is key and what is value?
Key would be listening, and it is storing again the whole list.
Whole list as a value, right?
Yes.
Now, if I see this, so obviously I have three key value pairs, right? In this, right, my key is a string called k1. In second, I have a key which is a number, and value is right a string. And again, I have a key as a string with list name and value as a list type, right? Now, again, I am writing something like this. What happened to my mouse? Now, what I am doing here, the statement at the end.
Key is dictionary object, and again, it is storing value as
As
a
a
dictionary,
as a
as an
dictionary.
as a dictionary,
Yeah.
and in that list.
Yes. So obviously now I have a very complex dictionary
Dictionary
created,
in
right?
dictionary, yes.
Yeah. So we can store value as a list, value as a dictionary, right? With key. Now, if I say I want to access the list, right, in the dictionary object, right, and I want to fetch say Amita, right, from that. So I want this Amita, right, not this Amita, right? So how you're going to fetch from dictionary? So obviously we can get a value if
Key
we
value,
use,
yes.
if we just type key, right? For example, if I do k1, right, I will get what output as a v1, right? Now I want to get Amita. So can anyone help me? So first of all, which key I have to go?
List name,
Listening.
and we have
I don't want to fetch this Amita. I want to fetch this Amita.
Listening.
Then I have to give what? First the key name, right? The key name is what?
Yes.
Dict.
Listening.
Dict underscore object. I want to extract this one, this Amita, right? Not
Yes.
this key wala
yes, yes,
Amita.
this
Hmm.
object and
Then
the index
That's this name.
then which index?
one list name index.
Listening index.
First we have to use a list name, right? Again, dict object
Yes.
contains what? Again a key, है ना? So
Yes.
again we have to use a key. The key name is what? List name,
List
this one.
name, yes.
Right. And then what?
Uh,
The
One
index,
index. Yeah,
right?
one.
That is one index, correct. So since list name key contains a list, and in that list the index value is one, where right that is right. I got this, right? Clear? So how to
Yes,
access values in from a complex? Now why it is right, and there are certain iterables which we will be learning with dictionary called items, keys, right, and values as an iterators, right, which are present in dictionary as methods that we are going to learn later. But I just want to say you, because if you see most of your API responses are of a JSON output, right, and JSON output sounds very or looks very similar to what dictionary, right? And if you want to do some parsing and validation, right, then the knowledge of dictionary, right, will be very handy, right, will help you a lot. in dealing with certain kind of such request or automating our certain validation parsing of JSON. Okay, is it clear to everyone?
Yes,
Perfect. Okay, now let's jump into getting familiar in terms of writing a Python program and executing them. So we will start with basic understanding. We will do some print exercises and then we'll jump into writing a program. Okay. Now, say I want to print this statement. Say, hi Sonia, you are learning DevOps in Ethans. So I want to write this statement and maybe in this particular batch, some number combination, and in that way. So I have created this variable called name, or say fn. Fn say is the first name, okay, and I have written say Sonia, ln say last name, that is Kaure, okay, and say subject DevOps, and say score. So say in DevOps, say going to score something, right? Say score is 90 percentage. Okay, so value is this, so 90.00 percentage, and batch ID is 4590. So this is the variables that I have defined. Okay, now I want to form a sentence, right? Say Sonia Kawade, who is learning DevOps, has scored right 90 percentage and is from batch ID this. Let's say this is the sentence that I have to write print. So how you will do that? Using print statement, using these variables.
Concatenation
concatenate
and the F format.
Dot format, correct.
Yeah.
So so we will do three types. First we will do concatenation, which is as a beginner, maybe you start, but we should not do regularly. It's not a good, we have very smart way to do it, like using dot format or C style of printing. So we will be using them. So first let's do the simple thing, and I also gauze you, whether what I have written is correct or not, and you also have to gauze me, if I have written correct or not. So obviously, say first name plus last name plus concatenation, is learning, space plus subject. Okay, and then say full stop plus C score. How much percentage score, so I will keep here plus score, right, plus and is from batch ID. Let me move it here a bit. Take this also down a bit. Okay, from batch ID plus batch underscore ID. Will it work? Come on, guys. Just read it once more. and identify are there any things through which this print statement will fail.
तो इसमें सेमीकोलन नहीं लगता पाइथन में.
That is the benefit of Python, right?
Okay.
Lot less of syntactical things, right? That is what the right. You can say clean reading, right? It's very clean.
ये प्रिंट होएगा.
Yeah, it would work.
Is it again? Right? I'm saying no, it will not work.
Due to that because we have core as some other type of method things.
I'm not able to hear you, Prashant. But if you are saying something related to score or batch ID, yes or no?
Related to integer.
हाँ ये टाइपकास्ट एरर थ्रो करेगा.
Typecast error.
Yes. So you finally got it. So I will get an error, right? Typecast error, right? So obviously, so we have to convert them into what? Make it work. String में बदलना पड़ेगा उसको, है ना?
Yes.
No, it should work, right? So Sunya today is learning DevOps. Is code 90.0. See string typecast का नतीजा and is right batch ID that is 4590. So yeah, this work, but it's not that right easy, right? Writing them. So why not we use right a different way? So we can first try a C style right way of printing, in which you might have heard about. For string, we generally use percentage s, right? For integer, percentage d, and for float, what percentage f, and we can also
Yes.
control the decimal places, right? So let's write that statement. So print. So I will write my sentence free flow rather than right thinking about plus signs. So I will write basically I need this variable here, right, which is string. Again, I need this variable, right, and then is learning, okay, then percentage s dot, right, then c scored, right, then it is a float, so percentage and how much decimal places, 2 decimal places I need, right, f, right, and is from batch id colon percentage, it is integer, so percentage t. So this is right my sentence, okay, this is my sentence. And one thing I wrote print as a pretend, okay, let me correct it. Okay, so I did this. Now my double quote right of entire string is closed, and now I will use this right syntax called percentage. And after that, since I have multiple variables, so I will use all variables in sequence which I have defined. So I first need fn, right, then I need what, ln, then I need what, sub, right, and then I need what,
Score.
score, and then I need batch id, correct? So batch underscore id, okay, enter. What I forgot one bracket, right? Okay, so I will correct this statement. So this one round bracket of print, right, is missed. So see, it is printing me, right, and it is much better than, right, what we use with concatenation, correct?
Yes, this is easy.
Yes.
Okay, now dot format is a modern way of printing, and right, Python has given us a string function. It is what string method, right, which we are using. So if I use dir, which is right to see what are the methods, right, in particular object. So string is an object, right? And in string object, if you see, there are many such methods, right? Like capitalize, center, and all that, right? And there is one method called format, right? We are going to use this, right, for print statement, and it is also much capable and right smart. It is just similar like that C style printing. Let's do that, right? I will write the same statement right here, but instead of this percentage, right, with string I will use what, dot format. Wherever my string ends, I am using what, dot format, and inside I am passing this variable. And instead of this percentage s, I will call it using what, two curly braces, which is right handler of your variable. Just right, it will replace the sequence with right this. Okay, so what I did, I removed in C style all the variable that I was right as per the type I was using with right round brackets, empty round brackets. My string ended here. After that, I use dot format. Means this with this string, I use the method called dot. I applied this method right dot format and fn ln right as sequence as usual. ठीक है इतना किया मैंने कोई इसमें कोई एक परसेंटेज ही रह गया राइट
Yes, absolutely.
इसको भी ठीक है now if I run this I'm getting the same output right
Yes.
only thing right the float rate is somewhere right not working well right and that is the problem with string right because it is a format wherever you have format right you will a percentage right you will get this kind of challenge there okay but there is right way right in format and that is an exercise for you right how to handle right percentage in format and it is possible okay so just like we did right dot 2f that's similar in dot format we have okay so you have to explore that note this down right again right somewhere okay now one thing that I want to pass which is important again right now if I do this see this is what a format uses this variables right as index so in 0 there is fn there in ln there is 1 2 3 right in that way it is there now if I do this here I put 1 here I put 0 and then I want right in the same order 2 3 4 and if I run what happened
Last month depends on
Randomly print.
switch कर सकते हैं right variable को
Yes.
as
Yes.
per the right the index value in format so that is one again benefit right of using this right modern printing using dot format over string okay so this is where right this right format would be much easier and very similar to right C style printing. Now it's your choice where you want to what you want to use in what situation. So obviously you can use concatenation also when you have don't have to write a very big statement and you want to concatenate certain variables that you had created you can use concatenation for sure right if it is a very big statement then it's better right to use either C style printing or dot format right so it can be easily managed. You got it this guys इतना समझ में आया
Deepak, if we put all variables with the comma separated, then will it be printed
where comma
in
separated
print statement? Like
obviously
print.
one means curly braces right in sequence right obviously that is what happening
No,
no
no, no. Not in format, just only variables in a comma
yes
separated. Like.
that will
Mhm.
also work that will also work right but it is something right what I am doing I'm just printing I'm not forming sentence right you are saying like this right
Yeah, the sentence which we are adding, we can add them in the quotes, right? Like
yeah
after subject, if you want to add anything.
say this is how it will print but if I want to use them in sentence I need to either use right dot format right or right C style or concatenate
Like
so,
if we want to fetch any value from the variable, we put like the value of this variable equals to
so
and quotes
that is
complete comma
that
and
is
variable.
that is general statement right just you are
Mm-hmm.
just showing them right I'm talking
Mm-hmm.
about using them in a sentence
Okay.
this
Mm-hmm.
is two different thing right if I just want to test and I just want to check so I will directly can print right something like that you
Mm-hmm.
are saying right you are saying
Yeah.
correct
And after that, we also can add the string also after subject as well.
obviously we can
Mm-hmm.
but it will not form a
Mm-hmm.
sentence right you are breaking them right but you are not able to
Mm-hmm.
concatenate them in a proper sentence order right that is the
Mm-hmm.
challenge out there okay
Okay.
okay now I have a small exercise to do right since we know right print statement how to do right we let's go to a restaurant right and eat something right and generate a menu right so what we ordered and right at the end we should have right a total price so there would be items that we would be ordering right from the menu Then we have list of items with their prices, and we should have also show, right, what items consumed with what numbers, and at the end we need, right, a total, right, price, right. So that is what we need to, right, generate using Python statement. So obviously here the whoever, right, who is serving us will ask us, right, what you want, right, or what item you want, right, and as per that we are going to generate our menu. So we need to understand one function here, right. So there is a function called, right, input. For example, if I create a variable say fn, जब हम लोग अभी क्या कर रहे हैं, fn हमने डायरेक्टली वैल्यू दे दिया, बट अगर मेरे को यूजर से इनपुट लेना है, fn इक्वल टू, देयर इज अ फंक्शन कॉल्ड व्हाट, input. And input, what we can use, what is your first name, say this is the question, right, what is your first name, okay. And if I run this, I will get this, right, user input interface. What is your first name? So I say Deepak. And now if I print fn, I will have what, Deepak inside it. Okay. So in that way, what we can use, take an input from a user, right, using input. Now remember one thing here. If I say what is your batch ID? Okay. So here I am writing batch. Okay. And I give 4567. Obviously batch will print me what, 4567, but is it integer or string?
String.
String.
This is what you have to take care, right, you should be aware of. So input, right, returns what, always what, string. So you
String.
have to typecast, right, for, right, any integer operation that you want to do. Is this clear?
Yes, Deepak.
Yes.
Okay, now let's go and write a, right, small program, right, which is generating, right, bill, right. So I will come out of it and I will use my vi editor, right, for writing program. Vi bill generator, right, रेस्टोरेंट डॉट पी वाई, चलो ये लिखते हैं हम लोग, ठीक है। तो मैंने एक कोड लिख रहा हूँ, ऑब्वियसली मैं फर्स्ट सी बैंक लाइन यूज करूंगा, राइट, माय बैड, आई हैव टू टाइप इंसर्ट, या so shift hash user bin python, okay. Here I will write, just say I entered into a restaurant, right, and I want to start ordering, waiter आया उसको order देना है, and I am just ordering some items. So my first item, so item 1 equal to, so I will use what, input.
No, KNOW.
Um, so say waiter is asking, right, so or we can write, let us know first item, okay. So I am writing an input function, right, and it will get the value stored, right. Similarly, I will order 2 items, so I will do yy to p, so I will write here item 2, okay, and here it should be R3. So obviously I am just, right, creating my variables which I will use it for generating right menu. And I will also ask what is the price of item 1, what is the price of item 2, right? So that I can place it in my menu, right? So this is the item and this is the price. So I will take input of price also. So I will copy one of this variable. Why? Oh, sorry, my bad. Escape, undo. So I'm in escape mode. Why? I will go here and I will do print, right? And here item 1, insert mode 1, say price. So what is the price of, say I'm using format of item 1, I'm asking right here dot format, right? And I can say here the variable item 1, item underscore 1. Okay, so in that way I'm asking and it will give me the price. So in YY 2p, similarly for item 2. Okay, and here I will use R3 and I will change here also accordingly. If I do any mistakes syntactical, please do correct me. Okay, so keep observing what I'm doing and ask questions wherever yet you feel. So I have taken 2 inputs till now. Okay, and now I'm going to print the menu statement, right? So we'll see how. So I'm first going to print. Okay, so sprint star into 40 and then print space into 20 plus menu. Okay, and then I will copy this YY and print here. Okay. And now I'm going to write a print statement which actually displays a menu, right? So and then we will do our first execution, right? And then we will move ahead, right? So we will do print, right? And here, we will be displaying 1 dot, right? And we will give space. So here item 1, whatever the value of item 1 and its price, right? So price would be in rupees, whatever, right? So dot format, and format, right? We have 2 variables. One is item underscore 1, comma, we have item 1 underscore. Okay, similarly we will copy this YY 2p. Okay. Okay, so अभी हमने पार्शियल एक मेनू लिखा है, अभी अब तो ऑर्डर नहीं किया है, अभी ऑर्डर भी करेंगे हम लोग, ठीक है? सो इसको हम सेव कर लेते हैं, ठीक है? और इसको परमिशन देते हैं chmod 755 it bill generator and then let's execute it. So ये पूछा है please let us know what first item that you want to order. Say I want to say chapati. And what is the second item, right, that you want to order? So I say dal and then say salad. Okay, what is the price of chapati? Say 20 rupees. Okay, 2.00. Okay, what is the price of dal? Say 50. And say what is the price of salad? Say 10.00. Okay, now you can see, right, we have right, typical, right, type kind of a menu, right, which is displayed, right, correct? We can
Yes.
Yes.
adjust, right, we can
Yes.
simply adjust it, right, whatever, right. So you have to do those improvements, right, that is would be right, you have to do, right. Now let's move to script again. Okay, now we will be also, right, adding showing the price of, right, this item, right. So we can either use the same right menu where we can write also, right, the number of orders, right, we can, or we can write place it in a different. So I will copy this three and we will call it quantity, right, escape.
सर वो सॉरी फॉर द इंटरप्शन
No, no.
सर जो प्रिंट वाला सेक्शन है जो प्राइस वाला
हम्म,
प्रिंट एस्ट्रिक 40 प्लस मेन्यू
हाँ
ये एक बार और रिपीट कर दीजिए.
हाँ, ये क्या है, हमने ये क्या किया, ये डिजाइन करने के लिए किया, राइट, डिजाइन करने के लिए क्या किया, ये एक स्ट्रिंग है ना, स्ट्रिंग पे अगर मल्टीप्लाई ऑपरेटर करते तो रिपीट करता है, तो स्टार को कितने टाइम्स रिपीट किया उसने,
40.
40 टाइम्स किया है ना, तो ऑब्वियसली वो पूरा एक लाइन आया स्टार 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 का, है ना, ये दोनों स्टेटमेंट जो ऊपर का यहाँ पे जो है और यहाँ पे जो है, ये दोनों
मींस इस एस्ट्रिक के साथ में मल्टीप्लिकेशन तो वो अपने टाइम पे वो हाँ हाँ यस
स्ट्रिंग जो हमने शुरू में डिस्कस किया था, राइट,
यस यस.
राइट, एंड यहाँ पे मैंने क्या स्पेस यूज किया, स्पेस को कितना 20 टाइम्स किया है ना, तो देयरफॉर, राइट, अगर वो थोड़ा स्क्यू लग रहा था मुझे तो आई कैन रिड्यूस इट टू से 15, राइट, बेसिकली सो दैट वो थोड़ा बराबर आ जाए। तो ये सब चीजें मतलब आप जो है ना, और भी बहुत प्रिंट स्टाइलिंग जो है, राइट, और भी बहुत तरीके से होता है। सो अगर आप एक्सप्लोर करोगे तो उसमें आपका नॉलेज और अच्छा होगा। ठीक है, देयर आर वेज टू डू, राइट, प्रिंट स्टाइलिंग्स। तो it will, right, improve the display, how to do, right, these are skills basically, right, which can be easily, right, developed। तो ये मैंने इतना कर लिया है, अभी मैं क्वांटिटी का लेना है, right, escape, I will copy all these 3 lines, 3yy and 3 lines copied, I will go here, right, and paste it here, go insert mode। okay, now I am going to take the quantity, right, so or right, what is my order, right, उसके लिए मैं करने वाला हूँ। तो item 1 q, item 2 q and item 3 का quantity। so total number of the order for which item 1, right? Similarly, we'll copy this statement, go here, अभी मैं ऑर्डर जो नंबर्स है कितना आपको खाना है, राइट, वो ऑर्डर क्वांटिटी ऑर्डर के लिए ले रहा हूँ, पेस्ट item 3। this is also pasted here। नाउ मेरे पास क्वांटिटी भी आ गया, अगर मैं यूजर से इनपुट ले रहा हूँ। अभी मैं क्या करूँगा, आई विल जस्ट कॉपी दिस 3 लाइन्स अगेन, राइट, एंड आई विल जनरेट एन ऑर्डर। मेन्यू से जो ऑर्डर हुआ वो कॉपी, यहाँ पे मैं पेस्ट करके मैं मेन्यू की जगह क्या कर दूंगा, ऑर्डर, ऑर्डर्स। ओके, और यहाँ पे फिर मैं वही स्टेटमेंट यूज करके नंबर्स में डाल दूंगा, राइट, फॉर क्वांटिटी। ये कॉपी किया और यहाँ पेस्ट किया, और यहाँ पे मैं बोल दूंगा रुपीस की जगह नंबर्स। एंड आइटम 1 आइटम 2 आइटम 3 सेम रहेगा, बस पी की जगह क्या आ जाएंगे, क्वांटिटीज आ जाएंगे। ठीक है, और वी कैन ऑल्सो राइट जस्ट चेंज बिट की स्टार की जगह यहाँ पे सिंस हम ऑर्डर दे रहे हैं तो हम डैश डाल देते हैं, सो इट जस्ट टू चेंज द राइट लुक एंड फील, राइट, नथिंग एल्स। अब ये किया, अब हमारा क्या है, ये डिस्प्ले तो हो गया, और यहाँ पे हम इसको राइट क्लोज कर देंगे पूरा ऑर्डर को। जो ऑर्डर आया ऑब्वियसली यहाँ पे एक प्रिंट स्टेटमेंट ये वाला डाल देंगे। ठीक है, और इसके बाद अभी हमें टोटल प्राइस कैलकुलेट करना है कि टोटल बिल क्या हुआ, राइट, और वो बिल का जो अमाउंट है, राइट, वो हमें देना है, राइट। तो कैसे जनरेट करेंगे, सबसे पहले सिंपल मैथमेटिक्स, राइट। सो आइटम 1 का जो कैलकुलेशन है, राइट, आइटम 2 का जो कैलकुलेशन है, आइटम 3 का कैलकुलेशन है, राइट, उसका हमें राइट प्राइस पूरा कैलकुलेट करके सम करना है, राइट। सो हम लिख सकते हैं ऑर्डर 1, ठीक है, or we can write something in better way, right, order 1 इक्वल टू, हम यहाँ पे मैथमेटिक्स कर रहे हैं, मैथमेटिक्स क्या है हमारा, आइटम 1 का प्राइस इनटू आइटम 1 का क्वांटिटी, इनका मल्टीप्लिकेशन होगा, करेक्ट। तो सिंस हम इनपुट यूज कर रहे हैं तो जो वैल्यूज हैं वो स्ट्रिंग है, राइट, उनको इंटीजर में कन्वर्ट करना पड़ेगा, राइट। सो आइटम इंट किसका है, हमारा नंबर्स का, तो इंट इज आइटम 1 अंडरस्कोर क्वांटिटी, है ना, आइटम 1 अंडरस्कोर क्वांटिटी दैट वुड बी इन इंटीजर, राइट, इनटू फ्लोट पे डालेंगे किसको, क्या आइटम है अपना, आइटम 1 का प्राइस, राइट, आइटम 1 अंडरस्कोर पी। तो ये हमने मैथमेटिक्स के ऑर्डर 1 पे ये आ गया। सो सिमिलरली ऑर्डर 1 ऑर्डर 2 ऑर्डर 3 हम इसको वाई बाई 2p करके राइट यहाँ पे ले लेते हैं, मतलब we can do in a very single statement line also, but just for right ease of understanding, right, I am right first calculating it separately and right then doing, नहीं तो मैं total quantity के साथ भी ये चीजें easily कर लेता, ठीक है, but it would be much cleaner, right, और readable code अगर देखा जाए तो ऑर्डर 1 ऑर्डर 2 ऑर्डर 3 हो गया। अभी मेरा जो टोटल प्राइस होगा वो क्या होगा, इनका सम होगा, राइट।
Yes.
तो मैं यहाँ पे एक वेरिएबल बना लूंगा, राइट, टोटल अंडरस्कोर प्राइस इक्वल टू राइट order underscore 1 plus order underscore 2 plus order underscore 3. Perfect. Okay. Now again this is right dash is there, so my actual print statement will come here, right, print total bill, ठीक है, जीएसटी आप लोग लगा लेना आपके कोड पे, मैं नहीं लगा रहा, ठीक है। टोटल बिल टोटल प्राइस, ठीक है। So let run it and see, right, if it works. Okay. Now say bill generator. So same thing, right? Let's eat chapati and with dal, vegetables भी बोल सकते थे, but salad, ठीक है। And what is the price of chapati? 20.00, dal 50.00, salad say 10.00, ठीक। Now we have a menu now, total number of order, right, for chapati. So say I ordered 5 chapati, 2 dal and say 1 salad, right? So now we have right orders also, right, and in terms, right, the bill, total bill is also displayed, correct. So obviously this is how your menu, we can write, we can put this 3 statements at the top also, right। तो हमारा क्या है, ये बीच में नहीं आता, हमारा पूरा का पूरा एक मेनू जनरेट होता है। लेकिन ये जो 3 ऑर्डर स्टेटमेंट है वो भी मैं कोड के ऊपर डाल देता, पहले ही लेके रखा, तो राइट अच्छे से जनरेट होता। तो लेट्स इंप्रूव दिस कोड। सो किया है, तो हमने क्या किया है, ये जो प्रिंट स्टेटमेंट है राइट ऑर्डर वाला, इसको कॉपी कर लो। ये पहले तो ये कॉपी करना पड़ेगा, ठीक है। तो मैं इसको मैं करता हूँ 3dd और इसको ले जाता हूँ यहाँ पे, ठीक है। P
दीपक, जो लास्ट में कॉमा लिया वो किस तरह से यूज होता है?
कौन सा वाला?
प्राइस, टोटल प्राइस में जो कॉमा।
हाँ, तो ये जो चीज़ है ना, ये नॉर्मल प्रिंटिंग वे है राइट। मतलब आपको कोई राइट प्लेस नहीं करना है, आपको सिंपल एक स्टेटमेंट लिखना है और उसके आगे वैल्यू प्रिंट कर देना है। तो क्या करता है, टोटल बिल कॉमा एक सिंगल वेरिएबल है आप डाल सकते हो राइट। मल्टीपल वेरिएबल है तो आप यहाँ पे उस हिसाब से आपका क्या करोगे, आपका ये जो सेंटेंस है वो डालोगे राइट, टोटल बिल एंड टोटल वट एवर राइट। तो आप 2 वेरिएबल एक साथ ऐसे डाल सकते हो, ठीक है। किन्होंने पहले पूछा था राइट, दिस सेम सेम थिंग राइट। तो उसमें क्या है, एक सेंटेंस फॉर्म करना डिफिकल्ट हो सकता है बट डिस्प्ले करना इजी होता है इस सिचुएशन में, ठीक है। दिस वन शुड बी हियर राइट, प्रिंट वन। हम ऑर्डर हम ऊपर ले गए राइट, और प्रिंट ये किया, ऑर्डर किया, ठीक है। तो मतलब हमने इनपुट ऊपर ले लिया राइट, इनपुट हमें नहीं चाहिए था बीच में, एंड एवरीथिंग लुक्स गुड नाउ, ठीक है। Yeah, now if I run the code again right, in this time I will write C, D and S, right, for the price that we will give proper, that is 20, oh my bad, 50.00 and 10.00, कोई बात नहीं, वो अपने आप हो जाएगा handle. Total number of order for C, say 5, 2, 1, right? Now it looks a bit clear, right? तो अभी हमारा देख रहे हो आप कि जैसा हमें चाहिए था उस सीक्वेंस में आया है राइट, बीच में कोई प्रिंट स्टेटमेंट नहीं है, तो हमारा जो मेनू है राइट वो जनरेट, correct. So see, this is how right, basically right, as a beginner right, I will do lot of printing exercises right. I should do right lot of certain right print like caution statement exercises, so that I have a confidence in terms of executing codes. First आपको code execution और उसके input पे confidence है, and then slowly right, you have to move right further in terms of using decision logic right, learning right string and their methods, list and their methods, and through which we will learn how to make decision logic codes right, loop around them right, and create functions and all those right, that should come later. So I would suggest आप ये एक्सरसाइज खुद से करना, कोशिश करना जो आज मैंने यहाँ पे किया है। और दूसरा, आपको अगर एक्सरसाइजेस पाइथन के करने हैं तो देर इज समथिंग कॉल्ड W3 resources, okay, and W3 resources Python exercise. Here if you go and start with basics, don't directly jump into string list right. तो basic जो part 1 है right, ये इस पेज में आओगे W3 resource Python exercises में, तो basic part 1 पे जाना। तो यहाँ पे 150 क्वेश्चंस हैं राइट विद सॉल्यूशन, बट डोंट डायरेक्टली गो टू द सॉल्यूशन, फर्स्ट ट्राई हार्ड राइट, स्ट्रगल करो थोड़ा, and after that right, after you tried a lot or you are very close to your solution right, then right go and look the solution, try to understand how they approach right, to right solve this problem. So this should be the way rather than directly right executing the solution. Okay, everyone got my point?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so today's video plus some links related to right installations and this one right, Python sir, I will post in today's right assignment, and already you have two three things to explore right from the class, so do those exploration parallelly. Okay. Okay guys, so we will meet tomorrow right, and tomorrow would be understanding right string slicing, that we have to understand, then the methods which are there in string right. So our vocabulary in terms of using string method right is also clear, and if time permits we will jump to list also. Okay then, bye guys.
Deepak, one question here.
Yes Nikhil.
That apt install, that yum install, do we need internet to run those commands?
Yes, yes definitely, because from where right app do the installation App
Download
downloads what?
packages and
Yeah,
all.
it downloads from the internet basically. Okay.
Can't we have it like offline download and like file
You can
transfer
do
from
you
pen
yes
drive?
yes, you can do that. You have to first download the source of Python, right, from the
Mhm.
python.org. Linux वाले उस पे जाओ और वहाँ से सोर्स डाउनलोड करो और सोर्स इंस्टॉलेशन करो. तो अगर आप डाउनलोड्स में जाओगे, यहाँ पे अदर प्लेटफॉर्म्स में जाओ, ठीक है. तो यहाँ पे सब सब वर्जन्स के लिए होगा, राइट. उसमें लिनक्स के लिए भी होगा, ठीक है. तो आप वहाँ से डाके डाउनलोड करो और उससे इंस्टॉल करो. बट दोज आर वेरी डिफिकल्ट, राइट. वे सेटअप डॉट पी रन करना पड़ेगा, राइट. तो कुछ डिपेंडेंसी इशू आ सकते हैं बट कैन बी रिजॉल्व, राइट.
तो
तो
उस केस में सेमी कमांड रहेगा ऐप का इंस्टॉल?
नहीं 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 नहीं, उसका इंस्ट्रक्शंस अलग रहेंगे. उसको वहाँ पे आपको उस फोल्डर पे जाके सेटअप डॉट पी वगैरह रन करना पड़ेगा.
इससे आईडी से हम लोग डायरेक्ट ऑफलाइन भी कर सकते हैं ना,
हाँ
अगर
बिल्कुल.
कोई आईडी यूज कर रहे हैं तो?
कोई हाँ बिल्कुल. आईडी को भी क्या चाहिए एट द एंड? इंटरप्रेटर चाहिए, है ना.
हाँ,
वो अपने
उसके
आप
लिए
ही
तो
वो अपने आप भी इंस्टॉल करता है कई आईडीज. अगर नहीं करता है तो आपको इंस्टॉल करके उसका पाथ उसको बताना पड़ेगा.
यस करेक्ट.
Deepak, can you just guide us how to use Python, PyCharm if you can?
So I have not installed PyCharm in this, but let me see.
Very easy than Jupyter.
हाँ. So
PyCharm का
initial
सेटअप है.
PyCharm का community edition, right? PyCharm community. Let me see, right, if I have in my.
One more thing, Deepak.
Yeah.
In Windows system, we can install that Ubuntu or Linux shell terminal, right?
Yes. So there is something called git bash, right? Using that also you can do, but I would prefer there is something called Windows subsystem, right? So in Windows subsystem there is Ubuntu and other right Unix operating system that you can install. So इसको snap मिल नहीं रहा है मेरे इसमें.
तो ये VM के सिमिलर है क्या ये विंडोज
हाँ.
सबसिस्टम?
yes yes yes. तो वो मतलब खुद का इन विंडोज 10 ने खुद का एक यूटिलिटी दिया हुआ है, ठीक है.
ओके.
Well, it is very right similar to having an Ubuntu right operating system, but with some limitation, not बहुत ज्यादा. जैसे Cygwin और ये सब में बहुत limitation है, right? उसमें नहीं है इतना, ठीक है.
Means the package डाउनलोड करने पड़ते हैं विंडोज सबसिस्टम के क्या बाय
हाँ.
डिफॉल्ट
by
विंडोज 10
default
में रहते हैं?
by default उसमें जो Ubuntu के पैकेजेस जो इंस्टॉल होता है वो रहते ही हैं. उस पे आप आपसे भी इंस्टॉल कर सकते हो. तो इट्स वेरी सिमिलर व्हाट यू डू राइट इन राइट नॉर्मल Ubuntu.
आपने ड्यूल बूट किया है क्या?
नहीं, मेरा डुअल बूट नहीं है. मेरा ये पूरा का पूरा
डिफॉल्ट. ओके.
Ubuntu है. हाँ. तो अभी मेरे को इंस्टॉल करना होगा PyCharm. Let me see right if I can PyCharm right install PyCharm CE. जनरली IntelliJ यूज करता हूँ मैं. मेरे पास दूसरा लैपटॉप भी है, राइट. माय विंडोज लैपटॉप इज आल्सो देयर, बट आई जनरली प्रेफर दिस. डाउनलोड इंस्टॉल PyCharm.
पहले आपको उसका वो सेटअप डाउनलोड करना पड़ेगा.
हाँ वही आई एम जस्ट सीइंग कि 20.04 के लिए क्या है. Ubuntu. Yep, this one, install this one. So ये command line से भी हो जाएगा. I have internet, so I will see that इन्होंने command line instructions दिया, तो I will try that. So ये क्या बोल रहा है कि आप ये command run करो PyCharm community classic professional, right. Step 2 you can start by following command PyCharm community और professional. मुझे चाहिए community क्योंकि उसके लिए बाकी के लिए लाइसेंस लगता है. Come on यार, कॉपी करने के लिए क्यों नहीं दिया इसने. Control C. Just give me 1 minute, guys. Huh. This one. But इसका snap है नहीं मेरे पास, I think. Please, 1, 2, 3. वाओ, कुछ तो कर रहा है. देखते हैं कितना टाइम लेता है. अगर ज़्यादा टाइम लेगा तो कोई बात नहीं. तो कुछ नहीं है. देखो PyCharm का जब आपका क्या खुलता है, GUI खुलता है, राइट. तो उसमें एक ऑप्शन होता है ऊपर में, राइट, एडिट करने का और वहाँ पे इंटरप्रेटर सेट करने का. दैट्स इट. आफ्टर दैट, राइट, इट इज सीमलेस. उसके बाद प्लगइन्स जो भी आपको लिंटिंग विंटिंग जो भी चाहिए राइट, सब उस पे रहता है प्लगइन के तौर पे, तो आप वो सब यूज कर सकते हो, डाल सकते हो। Seems it will take some time, guys. किसी के पास है PyCharm already installed that he can share his screen so I can.
Yes, I have.
Come on then, Sonia. Then why I'm doing the hard work? You have to do the hard work.
Yeah, okay, 1 minute.
Okay,
Give me a
let
second.
me give you host permission. Where are you, Sonia? Yeah. More. Make host. I made you host, Sonia. You can share your screen. Are you able to?
I think she's not online.
She was there. Hi, Sonia. I think she might be dropped off. Okay. She might be joining back.
दीपक, in the meantime, I have a doubt. Actually,
Please
मेरे पास
ask.
रेलेट मशीन है जिसमें /usr/bin में वो पाइथन का सॉफ्ट लिंक नहीं दिख रहा है, वो डायरेक्टली पाइथन 3 ही है।
हाँ, तो आप जनरली अगर पाइथन स्पेस -b करोगे तो नहीं आ रहा होगा कुछ, राइट?
नहीं आ रहा
एरर।
है।
हाँ, तो आप वहाँ पे जाके बना दो। आप किससे लॉगिन हो? रूट से लॉगिन हो कि
मैं अभी
नॉर्मल?
रूट से लॉगिन हूँ।
हाँ, तो sudo ln-s वो जो पाइथन 3 जो भी है ना, पाइथन 3 एंड देन राइट पॉइंट टू पाइथन, मतलब वो भी सॉफ्ट लिंक ही है तुम्हारा पाइथन 3 जो उधर है, ठीक है?
हाँ,
उसके ऊपर आप पाइथन सॉफ्ट लिंक बना सकते हो।
और मुझे ऐसे ही अगर आउटपुट देखना है, मीन्स ऐसे ही रन करना है, तो मुझे
पाइथन 3
स्लैश,
से रन करना पड़ेगा।
हाँ
कुछ नहीं,
जो मैं,
पाइथन 3 से डायरेक्टली।
हाँ पाइथन से, और मैं जो लाइब्रेरी जब कोड लिखूंगा VMS, वहाँ पे वो /bin/ वहाँ पे पाइथन 3 लिखना होगा इंस्टेड ऑफ
करेक्ट
पाइथन।
करेक्ट करेक्ट।
ठीक है।
Sonia is in waiting. Let me add her. Hi, Sonia.
Hi, sorry, actually, network got disconnected.
Yeah, no problem. So I am
Okay.
making you host. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Now you are host.
Okay.
Anyway, my PyCharm is also installed. But you can share your screen. You might
Yeah,
be
yeah,
using
1 minute.
right?
Yeah, yeah, 1 minute. I'm trying. Can see my screen?
Yes, it's
Yes.
loading. Yeah.
Can see this
Yeah,
PyCharm community?
I think you have previous version.
That's fine. Anyway,
Yeah,
right?
this
That's
one,
fine.
and I have Anaconda also.
Yeah. Now you can, Sonia, can you go to PyCharm interface and we have to show actually where the this executable address, right, or information is, right, put. So when you write a program and execute, right, how it takes it, right? So this is what.
Yeah, I have one code. I can open that also with the PyCharm.
Yeah.
1
yeah,
minute.
please.
Okay. Yeah.
Great.
So this is a code. 1 minute, it will get low.
Now you can go to the run. There is an at the top toolbar, right? There is something called run,
Yeah.
right? So just right, go to run, click on that run.
Here.
And right, there is something called I see that screen in between. So in run there are certain options, right?
Yeah, yeah.
If you again click, right, so there is yeah, project, right, there is a custom. This is some window, different window open. Yeah, can you close it again? Just close this pop-up.
This one.
Yeah,
The code.
so welcome to PyCharm. I see. Okay, my bad. This is something what my PyCharm writer gave, and yeah. So now you can
Yeah,
go
I opened the code. Yeah.
go to click on run. Click on run.
Yes.
And here you see, right, there is a run, debug, right, and there are attached to process, right. These are all the way, right. If you want to run a program, right, these are the option, right, shortcuts also through which you can run. Now at the top, right, in the right corner, there is a add configuration, right. See, there is something called add configuration on the where the closing the screen button is there, right, on the right hand side, where the search, not this side, opposite of this,
Yeah.
add configuration, you see, right, click on add
Yes.
configuration, right. So here generally, right, we define go to templates, drill down, right. So see, this is where, right, that's the interpreter and other information is there. So click on that Python which is there at the top. Yeah, see, so this is your working directory currently, right, for this project, right. And see,
Yes.
and if you also go to the Python at the top, yeah, so it will highlight, right, which interpreter, right, basically you will be using. So you are using specifically environment variables, and you see you have not mentioned, right, Python interpreter, so it is taking
Yes.
default. If you drill down, drop it down there in the at Python interpreter section, right, there is a drop down, right. Yeah. So these are the various Python, right, you can say things are there, right. So you can execute your Python code with a specific version if you have multiple Python version, right. So in add
Yes.
configuration you can go and change them, right. So these are the configuration which is required. By default it takes your current installation, ठीक है, जो भी है वो ले लेता है. अगर आपको चेंज करना है तो यहाँ पे आके आप पाइथन इंटरप्रेटर चेंज कर सकते हो. तो ये देखो इनका किस पाथ पे है, सी यूजर्स, राइट, वट एवर
Yeah.
सोनी, राइट, इस पाथ पे ये राइट जो भी पाइथन EXE है वो उस पाइथन EXE से यूज करके उसको रन करेगा, जो कि पाइचार्म ने राइट रखा है अपने पास, ठीक है.
While installing, we can give that path.
हाँ, yes. So I think Vishal, you get certain things, right, basically. Now आप नॉर्मल प्रोजेक्ट क्रिएट कर सकते हैं, उस प्रोजेक्ट में स्क्रिप्ट रख सकते हैं, स्क्रिप्ट बना
Like
सकते
this.
हैं, हाँ, और उसको नॉर्मल रन कर सकते हैं. अगर आपका रन नहीं हो रहा है और एरर दे रहा है तो आपको ऐड कॉन्फ़िगरेशन में जाके प्रॉपर आपको इंटरप्रेटर ऐड करना पड़ेगा.
Okay.
ठीक है.
Yeah.
सो अभी जो हमने प्रोग्राम लिखा, राइट, वो हम पाइचार्म में भी रन कर सकते हैं, राइट, बेसिकली. तो Sonia, let me right paste that code, right, to
Yeah,
you,
sure.
right, and let's, right, you execute it. VI bill generator test py. Perfect. So let me copy this code. Come on. Oh, I have to add it in editor where I did. Where is my home directory? Here in home directory, I have my code build generator. Just give me 1 minute, guys. Right click, open with text editor. Yeah. It's opening control. मैं आपको मेरे को वो पाथ देने की जरूरत नहीं है, सिर्फ इतना कॉपी करके देता हूँ. कंट्रोल C. Where is the chat option?
And I'm also not able to see chat option.
Let me ping you.
Yeah, it is there.
Yeah. So here, join group chat. be, yeah. Now pasting it. Okay. You might have received it now, right? Just copy that and write execute. Mhm. Have you got the chat?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think वो पूरा copy paste नहीं है.
Oh, my bad. So from where? Oh, come on. So it is
Print 2 कैसे नहीं होगा?
print 2 where this item 1 quantity 1, right?
Quantity.
So I will copy this remaining line. So you can remove the 29 line and add from there. I'm pasting. I'm just making this and write this now. You might have received now.
मम्मी टीव्हीचा आवाज कमी कर ग 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yep, you can execute it now.
Okay.
So obviously it is it will ask for input, right?
Configuration is still correct. Do you want to edit it?
Yeah. So
I think
name is this. This is fine. Do one thing. Go to Python interpreter. Go to Python interpreter, right, and select anyone. Right?
Part1 select, yeah.
Yeah. And now run. So see,
yes.
right? Yeah. Okay.
So this one.
That's it, right? It's not that difficult, right? When you will do the installation, right? Very fresh installation, even a lemon. Few caution in terms of the initial window where it will ask you the base Python, right? And the virtual environment, right, of the PyCharm. Just go what it selects, right? If it
Yes.
doesn't find your interpreter, then there is a problem. Means, right, in your system there is no Python already installed. Okay.
Yes.
So this is only challenge that you might face.
Compared to this,
While
I
for interpreter, if you open this while opening PyCharm or while installing, on the first place it asks for interpreter. So you can if someone is installing the latest one, it will automatically
Sonia?
take the interpreter.
Can you share the screen? I will show that thing what you are saying, right? I am in that phase right now. Okay, तो मैंने अभी install किया ना, तो अभी आया है मेरे को. तो just
Yes,
make
it will show the default. Yes.
yeah. Okay, I'll stop.
Let me share my screen. Is my screen visible?
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. No, it's
So see,
visible.
this is what happened, right? I am
Yeah,
just
this
saying,
one I was checking.
Yes.
this is the right new project, and it asks, right? See, it is setting a virtual environment for PyCharm. So obviously it is, right, creating a VNV, but the base interpreter that it is using is this, right? User bin Python 3.8,
Yeah.
which is there, right? I showed you.
Yeah.
Okay, and right, if you want to use a previously configured interpreter, you can, right, at the time of this, right, you can change it also.
But compared to this PyCharm, I think Jupyter Notebook is very useful for the beginners. Means, we can use
For
that. Even I'm running all the codes in
So
Jupyter Notebook.
that give you a history right,
Yeah.
of what you are doing, and you
And
can right,
options
set up,
also, functions also, it will give all the information there itself. So we can learn there itself.
So that's what I say. First, right, start with interactive shell, right, of Python.
Yes.
First is the interactive shell. Then, right, slowly when you see, right, now you're grasping something in Python, right, then jump and right, do some firefighting in terms of installing, right, Jupyter. There is no firefighting anyway, but right, learn, read, right, how to set up your right Anaconda Python or Jupyter, right. So you will get the idea, right. It is a matter of what, if you spend your 1 hour, 2 hour, right, looking for how to right deal with Jupyter, you will learn yourself.
Deepak, while installing Jupyter also, we just have to download the setup file, and then while installing, if we open this Jupyter, so it will default show Anaconda prompt shell window. So yeah, so it will only ask to install the libraries. Like if we want to install libraries, then we have to use that pip3 command and install.
Yes.
The rest everything is same.
Yeah. So I have some good links video that I'm going to share with you. Right? But definitely I want, right, rather than right directly jumping into some documented stuff, why not you try yourself, right? Why not you struggle
Yes.
yourself? Then you will learn more. Okay. So you will get some here and there's also with that. Okay. Okay, everyone. So I will be binding up now. Okay. I have another batch in some time. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Deepak.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.